Alright, another shop upgrade video today. We're remaking this holder with the magnetic bar on it. So stick around, we'll talk about how I'm going to upgrade that. And while we're at it, don't forget to check out all the other shop upgrade videos on my YouTube channel. So right now, I have this magnetic bar that I don't use a whole lot of tools that aren't already in holders on the walls that need to be on a magnet bar. But my branding iron, a little adjustable wrench, some putty knives, and my router wrenches, they're just something that it's hard to find a spot for that's easily accessible for when I need them all the time. So this is taking up way too much wall space. It's hanging from up here, but honestly, with the tools up here at the top, I don't need to go all the way down here. So I need to make a new holder that'll have this up higher, but also put the magnetic bar away from the wall so that I can maybe do some double storage on the back. We'll have to see how that all works out. First we'll get the magnetic bar off. So I'm actually going to be using this one right here, but I still need to plane it up to get it to a better thickness. Alright, so I've got two holes here on this end that I'm going to be cutting off, but I got two holes on the end of this board also with a crack coming in, so I don't need the full width of these boards, just most of it. So I'm putting, since I know this end of the board is good, the magnetic bar near the end where I think I want to put it, and then I'm lining up the edge of this board here so that what I cut off for these holes will be just far enough in so that when I cut this end off, I don't know, we'll have to play it by ear. But yeah, I'm offsetting it just so I can make sure I have as much salvageable wood as possible on there. So with that in place, what I'm going to do is some blue tape the length of the connection of the boards. Just lay it over the seam. It doesn't have to be perfect, as long as the boards are firmly together. I know they're both the same thickness, so as long as it's on there, I can spread that and then flip this over, and now I just need glue from there to there, and then when I lay it back down, those are already aligned, and I can throw it in my clamps to get it glued up. Now because I got the blue tape on the back side, I don't have to worry about what kind of surface I put this on as long as it's flat, because I know the glue squeeze out isn't going to come out the bottom, it's only going to come out the top. But it never hurts to put a caul. I got tape on this so it doesn't stick on the top just to keep it flat. So I've got weight keeping it down, pressure keeping it together, and clamps keeping it in plane. And it's pretty thick stock still. I can still run it to the planer and get more off, but at least I know that it's going to be square for the most part, and there's enough glue in the bond. So we'll come back to that when it's dry. Alright, so it's the next day. I've got the clamps off, obviously. I sent this through the planer front and back multiple times just to clean off the glue and also make sure that it's co-planar for both boards. So now that I got it to where I want it, I'm going to trim off the end and then we'll measure out for how long the magnet bar needs to be. Alright, so I have that set up right at 7.5 inches, which is 2 French cleat holders height. So I can go ahead and get this ripped down. As I look at this, I'm trying to find the nicest parts of the boards that I want to use. There's a lot of these knots creating a lot of Chatoyan ripply effect over here in this area. So I'm probably going to cut off this top part to keep that in there, even though lots of it will be covered up with a bar and tools. I just want that in there. I'm actually going to use the offcut from when I trim this down to size to cut a couple of little squares off to mount them on each end of the board that I can screw the magnet bar onto. With that, that'll give me some space because the thickness of the handles for some of these tools are a little bit wider than the magnet bar itself. You can't really see it very well, but just so I can get my fingers back behind there to grab it off. Makes it a little bit easier to pull it off instead of having the bar straight on there and having to pry off my fingertips. If I have a piece of wood on there that's on, I can get behind it a lot easier and just pull off. Okay, so now I got two matching pieces I can put on each end. So what I'm going to do is put these on here and just make a mark, because now we're getting into the finishing steps. I'm going to line this up with the top and bottom and the side and just make a mark on the inside on the board itself. So when I go to put a chamfer with my router, I know when to stop so it doesn't interfere with this. You know, just make the aesthetics look nicer. And then I'll put this on, put a chamfer on that, and then we'll move on to installing the magnet bar and the backer piece. And spritz it down with some water just to raise that grain a bit. Alright, so that was just 120 grit. Now I'm going to hit the sides with a hand sander, get the chamfers sanded up, and then I'll glue these on. The tape isn't going to be what's holding it on. It's just going to temporarily place the two end pieces against the end grain so that I don't have the pieces sliding around a lot while I'm trying to pin nail the pieces from the back side. Sticking it on the side of the piece. I've got a spacer block that's thicker than this, so to keep it from going on that piece while I line it up on this piece. Once I get this all lined up, I can rub the tape on, and then I can come over here, carefully lift this up, pull that piece out, put this piece on. Tape off. Alright, so as I'm trying to place these on here, I gotta figure out exactly how high up I want, so I'm gonna load this back up with all of my tools. Looks like this putty knife is the highest one I've got, or the tallest one I've got. So go ahead, even out the space on both sides. Go ahead and make a mark with my drill. And move the putty knife to the other side to another general rotation. Pull this off. Pre-drill the hole a little bit. Don't need to be too deep because I'm using some short screws. next thing I need to do is I have another French cleat on here. I only have one on the back right now. I have another one set on there so that I can find the general height layout and add a second one just for more stability, because when I pull on it, this wants to come off. So if I have another one on there, it's going to want to stay against the wall. So if I move this to this side, put this back on, I can see the height of the French cleat that's in the back there, and make a mark on the side, slide it over, and do the same to this side. And then I'll continue that mark around to the back side, and just a straight edge. Pull this off. I've already pre-drilled some holes in the back here, so I just need to line this up with that line. It doesn't matter exactly where it goes, as long as it's right up underneath that line. I just realized you can't see me. Alright, so this just goes around the wall here. Fits right nicely. Doesn't mess with too many things that are down below here. The old unit, as you can see, is actually taking up the space of 3 of these French cleats, whereas this one only takes up 2. And for some reason, I think I fit more on here than I did on my original bar, which is great. But so take this and get rid of that. So yeah, moving right along. Let's look at the final results of how that looks.